Here's what we're talking about today. Keeping in mind that the plaintiff has to prove gross negligence and not just simple negligence, and the fact that the bar has been raised a little bit by state law creates a need to set up certain arguments through both allegory and metaphor that will resonate with the jury. Most of the jury have never been in a classroom since they got out of school, particularly out of grade school. Most of them know nothing about education, but they do have other common experiences in life that can be used to suggest the right answer in this case. So, if I was closing this case, I think I would start with a parable. The reason that Jesus used parables was because everyone can relate to a story. So, I would tell this story. You're driving down the country road in Virginia, and you hear the lonesome, mournful sound of a train whistle. You know there's a train around somewhere. Maybe you can't see it. Maybe you look both directions, can't see any train. Still, that train whistle tells you something. It tells you that you may need to exercise caution if you see a train. You round a corner and up ahead you see a railroad crossing. Now, you know there's a train around because you've heard the whistle. But now, as you speed toward that railroad crossing, you see the red lights start to flash and you hear the bells on the crossing sign. And you hear all and see all of that and you realize that train must be a lot closer than it sounds. Now, we all know when we see that there is a train coming, and it's coming across this intersection. But you've got a fast car. You know you can beat that train. So instead of slowing down, you increase your speed just a little bit. Uh-oh, then you see the crossbucks come down in front of you. They're blocking your way. But you know you can drive around them. You've seen people do it 100 times. You just have to slow down enough so you can make it around the crossbucks. And then, just as you're accelerating toward the crossing, a construction worker who's standing there comes out and starts waving a red flag saying, "Hey, stop, there's a train coming." But again, you know you've got a fast car, and he's just a guy. He can't stop you. So you drive around those crossbucks. Now, it's possible that you can beat that train, but consider the risk reward calculation. It's skewed pretty heavily in favor of the train, because in a collision between a train and a car, the train always wins. If that train hits you and destroys your car and kills your passenger, you are not just negligent, you are grossly negligent. You heard the whistle, warning number 1. You saw the lights flash, warning number 2. You saw the crossbucks come down, warning number 3. You saw the red flag waving from the construction worker, warning number 4. 4 warnings, and a tragedy ensues. That's what we're looking at here in this case. The 2 girls that told Amy Kovac that he had a gun. Then R told Ms. West that he had a gun, saw the bullets. Then there is the mention that he took it out of his backpack and it's not in the backpack, but they saw him put something in the pocket. That's another warning. Amy Kovac goes and searches the backpack. It's not there. She goes and tells Dr. Parker. In total, Dr. Parker had 4 opportunities to interdict this tragedy. She blew through all 4 of them, and she created a train wreck. Abby Zwerner shot through her hand, in through her chest, a bullet residing between her heart and her spine, no way to get it out, and all those children in that classroom and the other first grade classroom are now traumatized. They saw someone get shot. They saw someone bleed. They saw someone they had an attachment to, their teacher. I loved my second grade teacher and my first grade teachers. I loved those folks. And now they see this person that they love lying on the floor, bleeding out. Can you imagine how that will affect those children going forward? But let's imagine the situation had been a little different. Although the school did not drill for active shooters, many schools do. But all schools drill for fires. There's always a fire drill. Everybody gets up, runs out of the classroom, walks down the stairs, goes outside. The fire department comes. Everybody's cool. Everybody goes back inside and is glad for having the 30-minute break that they got by virtue of the fire drill. Now, in that situation, if there had been a real fire, somebody would have been in charge of pulling the fire alarm to get the fire department there. Somebody would have been in charge of evacuating the students. And the order to do that would have come from whom? The assistant principal, Dr. Parker. Let's suppose that someone went to Dr. Parker and said they smelled smoke in the cafeteria. Well, Dr. Parker might say, they just probably burned toast. Or, maybe the cook's having a cigarette. Shouldn't be doing it, but, it's not that big a deal. Nothing to worry about. Nothing to see here. Go on about your business. And, she might be right. But then, if she got a second report that they are not only smelling smoke, but now they are seeing smoke pour out of the kitchen, and somebody wants to pull the fire alarm, but Dr. Parker says, no, let's not bother the fire department right now. If there's really a fire, somebody's going to use a fire extinguisher and put it out. Don't worry about it. It's probably just a pan that had grease in it and it caught fire and it's self contained. Don't worry about a thing. And then a few minutes later, someone comes to Dr. Parker and says they see flames in the east wing of the building. And Dr. Parker assures them it's probably just a candle, probably nothing to worry about. And then a few minutes after that, a passing motorist comes in and says, hey, your building's on fire down there. Dr. Parker yawns. He knows that, her building's not on fire. So she's going to sit right here in front of this computer. And then she starts hearing screams. Well, gosh, maybe there is a fire. And maybe, just maybe, JT had a gun. Is there really any difference between that scenario and the one for Abby Zwerner? The one that she found herself in? 4 real warnings, 4 times they were ignored. Now, the plaintiffs here brought you the teachers who were involved. Jennifer West came in, told you what happened. She was subject to cross-examination. Amy Kovac came in, testified, was subject to cross-examination. She told you what happened. She told you the truth. Mr. Sims, Mr. Rowles, all of the teachers who had anything to do with this situation at Richneck came in and told you what they saw, what they did, and why. Many of them were blamed by the defense for not doing more. Imagine blaming Amy Kovac, someone who personally went to the shooter, wrapped her arms around him, disregarding the knowledge that he could kill her at any second, disarmed him, and called 911. Imagine making her out to be a co-conspirator, because that's certainly what it sounded like to me. That had to be so hard for you folks to watch, because when she was testifying, you saw what was in her heart. And when the defense turn came, did they bring any of the teachers from the school? I don't recall seeing any. Did they get any teacher to come in and say they thought Dr. Parker did a great job, everything right, no problem? No. They brought in an expert to criticize another expert. He even said he didn't dispute the PTSD diagnosis. He just would have done it a different way, because trials or something. And then there was that Dr. Amy Klinger. I sat through a lot of expert witnesses in my time, but I rarely saw anyone do a better imitation of Charles Durning in The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas and his Dance the Little Sidestep routine. Even when simple leading questions were asked that could easily be answered yes or no, Dr. Klinger didn't do that. She fogged her answers. She claimed that she was from the Educators Network for School Safety. But did any of her testimony sound like something that would improve school safety? You get 4 chances to interdict a school shooter, and you blow all 4 of them, and you're good with that because the shooter is only 6. Oddly enough, the bullet doesn't hurt any less or cause any less damage because the shooter is 6. I wonder if Dr. Klinger knows that. But you know who the defense didn't put on the stand? they didn't put on the stand the one person who has sat here in this chair right there for the entirety of this trial. She's heard every word. She knows everything that happened. She had an opportunity to take the stand. She had an opportunity to tell you why she did what she did. She did not avail herself of that opportunity. You should probably draw an inference from that. The defense seemed to wish to put all of the blame on Abby. But did anybody establish that Abby knew anything about firearms? Was that even a question that they asked during their cross examination? Did anyone establish that she had the knowledge to safely disarm a child? Did anybody set up the fact that maybe she knows Taekwondo or Jiu-Jitsu or Judo or, for that matter, boxing? No. They didn't ask her about that under cross examination either. They didn't ask her anything about guns. Isn't it more likely than not likely that had Abby attempted to disarm the child who was already teetering on the brink of violence, that he would have sprung into action earlier? He might well have shot Abby and several of his other classmates because they turned him in. He had said that he would do that. Was that what was running through Abby's head at the time? She couldn't answer that, but she shouldn't have to answer that. She's been grossly traumatized, and she's lost a lot. And the reason she shouldn't have to answer that is because Dr. Parker was notified right after she was. And if she had put in a call to Dr. Parker with this information in her classroom, as they seem to suggest, all of those children would have run screaming out of that room. They all know what a gun does. Would that have been a good result? Of course not. So why did they want to blame Abby so badly? Is it because they know their client is so grossly negligent in this case? And why did they want to blame Amy Kovac? She at least took some action. She searched the boy's backpack. She didn't find anything, but she let Dr. Parker know that he had put something in his pocket. What was Dr. Parker's response? It was that he has small pockets, so it must not be a gun. Spoiler alert, it was a gun. Amy Kovac was a hero. She went in and disarmed that child. She could just as easily have been shot. That she wasn't, by the grace of God, is a true miracle. But Dr. Parker knew all about this child. She knew about the child's disciplinary record. She knew he had anger management issues. There's absolutely no excuse for what Dr. Parker did not do. No matter what they tell you, that simple fact will never change. Now, a couple of postscripts. First, for whatever reason, they may not allow the plaintiffs to comment on the fact that she didn't testify because she does have a pending criminal case. But the criminal case hasn't been mentioned, and it should be fair game to comment on the fact that she didn't testify. Because if she was innocent, surely she would come and tell her side of the story. We'll have to see what actually happens there. And again, I am sure that the plaintiffs who have lived with this case and who have sweated blood with this case will do a much better job in their closing than I did in mine. And I hope that they do, and I hope that they get justice for Abby. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you being here today. If you have the opportunity today, try to do one kind thing to help somebody else. Any kind thing will do. Buy somebody a Coke, get them a cup of coffee. Anything that makes their day better, that would be a way to help make the world a better place. Because after all, isn't that what we're all after? Now, YouTube has a few things that they think you might be interested in, and they're going to be showing you that right up there.